Good evening. Welcome to the June 17th meeting of the Oceanside City Council. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order and ask our city clerk to please call roll.
Mayor Sanchez.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Joyce.
Recording in progress.
Councilmember Figueroa. Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Weiss.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Figueroa, would you please do us the honor of leading? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I do have the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the KOCT people of the West as the traditional land caretakers of the land on which Oceanside is built and its surrounding traditional cultural landscapes. Today, the KOCT are known as Luiseño and are made up of 7 bands: La Jolla, Palapalma, Pechanga, Rincon, San Luis Rey, and Saboba. We are mindful of the indigenous peoples in this place, and we pay our respects to the Luiseño, past, present, and emerging. We are grateful to have the opportunity to be part of this community in Luiseño territory and to honor their history, culture, and perseverance of spirit. Thank you. All right, so this is the presentations and proclamations part of the meeting, and we're going to go ahead and start with a proclamation in honor of Parks and Recreation Month 2026. We've got Manny Gonzalez, who is here, our Parks and Rec Director. Please welcome Manny and all the hard work he's been doing to make life better for all of us. Okay, so we also have other folks coming down for this, commissioners and staff, and and Manny's going to let us know who's here. First, I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Yeah, you know, I like to have other people up here. Thank you. All right. Whereas Parks and Recreation embodies the power of well-being by promoting physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized and self-directed fitness and play by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation embodies the power of play by creating memorable experiences. And whereas last year, the City of Oceanside managed 12,802 enrollments in recreation programs, issued 1,000 permits for special events, field, aquatic, and facility rentals, taught swim lessons to 2,899 children and adults, had 1,073 children in summer camp, 393 in surf camp, and another 491 in specialty camps, provided 1,317 rides to medical appointments and grocery shopping, and 900 taxi script vouchers for seniors, started a new water aerobics class with 317 participants, and a teen after-school program at Valderrama Recreation Center with 62 registered teens, and hosted 11 special events with 19,700 attendees. Pretty good for 1 year, huh? And whereas Parks and Recreation embodies the power of connection and community by fostering social cohesiveness in communities and celebrating diversity, providing spaces to come together. And whereas Parks and Recreation support the economic vitality of communities, especially here in Oceanside. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports safe, vibrant, attractive, progressive communities that make life better. And whereas Parks and Recreation embodies the power of nature and is a steward of our natural resources. So if you noticed, the theme this year for Parks and Recreation is the power of, and all these very, very positive things that are happening here in Oceanside because of Parks and Recreation and Parks and Recreation Department and Director. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Sanchez, on behalf of the City of Oceanside, acknowledge that parks make life better and do hereby proclaim the month of July as Parks and Recreation Month 2026 in Oceanside, and encourage all residents and visitors to enjoy Oceanside's many parks, beaches, programs, and events to enhance their social, physical, and mental well-being. Thank you, Manny. Thank you all for making this possible for us.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to acknowledge all of our team that couldn't join us today. On Monday was the start of our summer season, and so they're busy operating camps and all sorts of programs in our centers and parks. And I'm very proud of the work that they put in to create opportunities for our residents and our visitors to have memorable experiences in our parks and beaches. July is Parks and Recreation Month, and we're making an effort to have a variety of different free opportunities throughout our system for people to come out and engage with nature, be outdoors, and work on their health and wellness. So with that, I will pass on the mic for people to introduce them. I will introduce our chair of our Parks and Recreation Commission, Kelly Murphy, and
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Kovar, I'm the Parks and Rec Division Manager.
Good evening, I'm Karina Goodwin. I represent senior services for both Country Club and El Corazon.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Russell, and I am on the Parks and Rec Commission.
And anyone else wanting to say something? Yeah, these are the folks that in Oceanside make our lives better. So thank you very much for all your hard work, especially coming up this summer. I know we're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna be doing all kinds of classes and really enjoying our parks and other facilities. So thank you very much. And we're gonna go ahead and have a picture, so thank you. Clap. Council, if you'd like to join me. Thank you. Okay, next. This one is lots of joy and maybe a little bit of sadness, but this is a proclamation in honor of Oceanside Fire Chief David Parsons, who is retiring as of this Friday. And this proclamation I'm calling an Oceanside legacy. Come on down, Chief Parsons, along with our fire department. Come on down, our council, our city manager, come on down, please. This is a great big moment. When he first said he was retired, I was like, no, you can't. I'm gonna stop you. I'm just gonna barricade the door. But this is, you got it. I'm gonna go ahead and read this proclamation that really says it all. Whereas Oceanside Fire Department Chief David Parsons has served 31 years in the fire service. And whereas Chief Parsons began his career in firefighting and saving lives in 1994, working as a firefighter paramedic in various departments, including in Arizona, Oregon, and New Mexico, until deciding to move to his forever home of Oceanside in 2001. And whereas Chief Parsons hired on as a firefighter paramedic for the Oceanside Fire Department on May 26, 2001, being the first fire chief to attend an Oceanside Fire Academy. And whereas Chief Parsons was promoted to captain on October 8, 2006, supervising a fire station and up to 5 personnel performing all duties of a company officer. And whereas Chief Parsons earned his master's degree in emergency and disaster management in 2017. And whereas Chief Parsons was promoted to battalion chief on June 17, 2018, with responsibilities including emergency responses and incident command, administrative duties, discipline, staffing and personnel management. And whereas Chief Parsons was promoted to division chief on July 1st, 2018. I must have got it wrong. leading and managing in the Community Risk Reduction Division with a staff of over 14 personnel and a budget of $1.6 million. He is responsible for public information, emergency management, and all fire prevention activities, including development and plan review, city and state mandated inspections, fire investigations, hazardous materials management, vegetation management, and special event management. And whereas on July 30th, 2022, Chief Parsons was promoted to Fire Chief, responsible for leading and guiding all aspects of a modern fire, rescue, and emergency medical services department with oversight of a $48 million budget, 173 full-time, 130 part-time employee fire and lifeguard staff. Chief Parsons completed a standard of cover study, a strategic plan, and specialized leadership training for a young and dynamic organization. In addition, on April 25th, 2024, Chief Parsons took command of a significant fire that erupted on the far west end of Oceanside's beloved pier, overseeing and collaborating with Oceanside first responders and regional partners, resulting in no injuries and 93% of the pier successfully saved. And whereas Chief Parsons is retiring after 31 years of fire service, 25 of those years with the Oceanside Fire Department, rising through the ranks from firefighter, paramedic to chief, leaving behind a legacy of service and leadership and a department of exceptionally trained personnel, including newly appointed Chief Jessamine Specht. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Sanchez, on behalf of the City Council of Oceanside, do hereby proclaim June 17th, 2026 as Oceanside Fire Chief David Parsons Day in the City of Oceanside. Deeply grateful for his 25 years of exceptional service and leadership of the Oceanside Fire Department, leaving behind a legacy of excellence. Thank you for the many lives that you have saved, the many structures you preserved, and for preparing our fire department to successfully meet every future challenge. Best wishes on your next journey.
That's a surprise and an honor. Thank you so much. I want to point out something. The Parks and Rec folks that were up here, Corinna Goodwin, who stood up here, her husband was my first paramedic partner on the fire department. Wow. That was 25 years ago. So, I'm honored and thank you to everybody. I want to start by saying one thing for all the folks that aren't in government, to look at the people around you that work in the city. And I'm talking about the city council, and I'm talking about the lifeguards, I'm talking about my engineering partners and the Parks and Rec partners in every department in this city. And if you don't trust any word that comes out of my mouth, please trust these words, that you have the hardest working group of people that I've ever had the privilege of working with. Government's easy to throw rocks at sometimes, but I can tell you that every one of these people, and I'm talking about the council, down to the person that is inspecting a business, they work really, really, really hard to take care of this community that I live in, and I'm sure all of you live in. And you can trust that they're doing the best for you. Every penny is accounted for. It's now a $54 million budget. It's even higher this next year. They look at every penny that is being spent. I promise you that. We're human beings and sometimes we're not perfect, but I can tell you that the intent of the mayor and everybody in this city working for you is to take care of you. And honestly, I just want to live up to that work ethic and that care for the community. But where my heart is, of course, is in my department, the fire department. And I can't think of a better way to walk out the door than to stand here with the men and women in uniform that I've had the privilege of working with. I was nothing without a team around me, and every one of them just means so much to me, because that's what servant leadership is about. Anything I did was trying to think about the community and the firefighters that work for me. they're the two most important things that I made every decision based upon. And what's nice is, those two things go together. If I took care of the firefighters, I knew they would take care of the community, and they did. I trust them with my life, and they've heard me say this when I would be welcoming people into the department, and we're at the training center, and I'd point up at the palm trees at the top of the hill, and I said, I live up there. The fire chief's wife was at that home, and I want you to show up at that home like you show up to a person that might be homeless on the side of the street, and you treat them the same way, because you don't know if that person is the fire chief's father, brother, sister, mother, and the fire chief's wife's up there, and you better take care of those people the same way you take care of anybody in this community. And guess what? I trust that they did, and they do that every day. So I walk out this door very proud, handing this over to an incredible team that they're gonna do it better than me. I know they will. So all I can say is thank you for the honor and the privilege of having served this community.
I'd like to ask Councilmember Rick Robinson to say a few words since he was a previous fire chief, and then our newest chief.
Thanks, Mayor, I think. Actually, there was a little event this morning, and I said all the nice things about Dave then, so I don't have much more to add. No, I'm just kidding. I know. And all the things in the proclamation are true. What you don't hear is, and I think most of you know that I was the fire chief for 6 years prior to Dave taking the helm, is what you don't get to hear is all the heck that I put him through and all the projects that he worked on for those years and before. And most fire chiefs, when they retire, they might live in the city, but they're not part of the city. They go on their way. But in my case, being on city council, I'm watching the fire department, and it's sometimes I'm wondering, man, are they going to screw it up? Are they going to make all the hard work we did? Are they going? And that's what you start to think. And then what I've realized is, more often than not, matter of fact, every time, I always think, man, I'm jealous. I'm envious of the work that you've done, Dave. I'm jealous of the achievements that this team has put together. And not that we didn't do a lot before, but you just kept building, and everybody here kept building. And you have a lot to be proud of. And when you walk out the door, don't worry, look back. This guy here is going to take over for you, and he's going to do it. And I just want to comment for all those chiefs that put their name in the hat for the position. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for putting yourself out there and letting this organization know that you're ready, because we're well suited in the fire department here to when Jess decides his time's up, that there's people ready to fill in that gap. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dave. You're a great guy.
And when I heard that he was retiring, it's like, well, who's going to take your place? Well, guess what? We do have a new appointment, our new fire chief that starts after Friday, and that is Jessamine Speck, our newest fire chief.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you, Mayor. I'm very, very humbled at the trust put into me, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet because the mayor did not proclaim this Jessamine Speck Day. It's Chief David Parsons Day, so we'll leave the spotlight on him, but I'm really excited to step into the role and pick up the baton that Dave will hand off to me, and I'm very excited for the future of not only the city, but the OFD, so thank you again.
Let's just say he's left us in very, very good, great hands. So thank you, Chief Speck. Thank you. Anyone else wanting to say something?
Well, I'll just say a few words and keep it short as well. City Manager Jonathan Braga, for those of you who don't know me. Chief Parsons was actually, I think he may have actually been my first hire when I was promoted city manager. And I had kind of a light working relationship with Dave up until then. I didn't really know him very well, hadn't worked closely with him, but one thing that really impressed me with Dave is I could tell right away that he was a man of character, and we developed an immediate bond and trust, and it's so important to be able to trust your directors as a city manager. And the thing that I think stood out the most to me with Dave, and you see it here today, is his ability to build a team and, you know, what they call build a bench. And to Councilman Robinson's point, I mean, we're well suited for the future here. It was a very tough choice when it came to selecting the next chief. It's a testament to Councilman Robinson, certainly Chief Parsons, in terms of building up the organization and really creating a culture of professionalism in the department. I think that really is unparalleled. And I want to thank all of you folks here in uniform for your unparalleled professionalism, and that starts from the top. And it's just so nice to know, to Councilman Robinson's point and the mayor's point, you know, when these folks are called to action, you know they're going to deliver. They're going to deliver. I happen to be, well, I shouldn't repeat the story. I happened to be out of town when the pier fire broke out. Here I go again. I happened to be out of town when the pier fire broke out, and I remember thinking, okay, I don't need to panic. I know these guys have it under control. And sure enough, they did. You know, as was mentioned here, it was a wonderful response and really just a testament to the professionalism here. And look forward to working with Chief Speck, you know, in the years ahead. And best wishes, Dave. I really appreciate your partnership and professionalism. You've been a great asset here. Thank you.
Any other council members wanting to speak, or anyone else wanting to speak? Yep. Okay.
Nobody roasted yet, so no. I wouldn't dream of it. It has been an absolute honor to see you do what you do. When you come on a council, you learn about a lot of things, and you welcomed me on, and you downloaded so much knowledge. Like every time we had a conversation, it was steeped with the background, because you knew that I wanted to do my job well, and I wanted to support the guys to do their job well. I think what always strikes me about your service from the time that I've been able to observe it is when I talk, not to you, but to anyone that serves underneath your leadership, and that the way that they talk about you demonstrates how clear you've been a mentor to everybody. And when you're a leader, you're a natural mentor, and the folks, when they speak about, you know, working with you, that comes through every single time. So thank you so much for your leadership in the city.
So we're going to take a picture, and again, it's a little sadness because I know he's leaving, but he does leave us in a fantastic situation with our Oceanside Fire Department. So thank you all, guys, for everything that you do to save lives here in Oceanside. And you know, we've already started. It's not even summer yet, and we've already had a few fires, and you just do so much for us, and we so appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and take a picture. Family, yes, of course. Okay, can we see it? Yeah, down underneath. Yeah. Ready? Did you get it? Yes, you got it. Do one more, Andy? Because I think we were all looking over there. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we now have closed session report. Mr. Burke?
Thank you, Mayor. City Council met in closed session earlier today regarding item 1, Conference of Labor Negotiator. Provided direction regarding 5 bargaining groups, OPOA non-sworn, management employees, City Employees Association, Marine Safety Employees, and Western Council of Engineers. Direction provided, no reportable action under the Brown Act. And council also met on item 2, Conference of Real Property Negotiator regarding the 4.38 acre parcel at Nelm Street, APN 145-01015-01 and -2. Again, direction provided, but no reportable action under the Brown Act.
Thank you. Next are our consent calendar items, items 4 through 27. Are there any requests to speak from the public?
Yes, we have a request to pull items number 12, 17, and 22.
12, 17, and 22?
Correct.
Okay, is there a motion to approve balance? 11. Is there a motion to approve balance? Okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, there's a motion and second to approve the balance. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 11. Ooh, long one to
You don't
read.
have to read the whole thing, it's just a comment.
Okay, Councilmember Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor. And if staff needs to correct something I say, I'm fine with that. This is all about contracting to remove non-functional turf. And the reason I want to comment on it is basically we're approving over $1 million, I believe, tonight in a contract to remove grass. And this is just the start of it. And the reason I mention that is that this is a perfect example of an unfunded mandate by the state that when people go, well, why aren't you spending money on this or spending money on that? This is exactly why cities like ours don't have enough funds sometimes because we're mandated to spend it on something, in my view, as ridiculous as this. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that your motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and there's a second. All right, there's a motion and second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item 12, staff recommends City Council accept and appropriate the grant award from the Regional Task Force on Homelessness in the amount of $472,843. Number 2, approve the professional services agreement with Interfaith Community Services for diversion-focused services in the amount not to exceed $303,716. 3, approve budget for lease agreement with Kruger Wilkinson Trust for office space located at 804 Pierview Way, Suites 208 and 209, to house ICS staff. 4, approve funding in the amount of $100,000 for fiscal year 2026-27 for the continuation of Resolution Strategies services. And finally, 5, authorize city manager or designee to execute all relevant documents and agreements upon receipt of all supporting documentation. Mr. Knott?
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Sherry Lane, also former Senior Citizen of the Year in 2018. What I come forward on this item about is 2 items I've noticed recently down when the Brother Benno's community and other areas of the city. And that is mental health and the increase of senior population in the homeless community and also the threatened senior population due to economic hardship. I was wondering if in this programming that is being mentioned here, are there going to be increased mental support services and anything being done to prevent seniors from entering this population and any support services for them? Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if staff is able to answer that question. I imagine that it is, they're homeless, all homeless, that definitely includes seniors. So, did
Honorable
staff want
Mayor.
to speak? Yes.
Yeah, so that is one of our growing.
Mr. Rahman?
Fastest growing population. It is the bulk of the population that we serve through this program. So I would say yes. And in response to the services mentioned in resident comments, those are also part of the stabilization services.
All right, thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Next is item 20, let's see, is it 22? Oh, 17. Staff recommends City Council, number one, approve a professional services agreement with Interfaith Community Services in the amount of $1.175 million for fiscal year 26-27, supporting continued provision of outreach, case management, and stabilization services along the State Route 78 corridor. Number two, approve a professional services agreement with Interfaith Community Services in the amount of $1.373 million for fiscal year 26-27 for continuation of the rapid rehousing program services targeting high acuity unsheltered individuals. And three, authorize city manager or designate to execute all relevant documents and agreements upon receipt of all supporting documentation. Mr. Knott?
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Cherry Lane. Just wanted to ask a question of how many people have been successfully supported and brought forward into some form of rehabilitation and into successive transition for housing and to other successful programming into reentering into society from these programs, so that this can be highlighted. Thank you.
Do we have that, those stats?
Yes, we do. The program so far has served 168 individuals. We've housed approximately 75 individuals. We project to have housed about 100 by the end of this calendar year. We have only 2 clients confirmed return to homelessness. None of those clients are on Interfaith's caseload. We don't have exact numbers on employment or like complete substance use disorder resolution, but I know that we have a majority of our clients that are seeking counseling services and are at least expressing interest in enrolling in those services.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Given the scope of this large, fund, where's the best way for us to get information about how it's going, what lessons we're learning? And this is the first of its kind, right? So I would think that we'd want to know after this far in, what we need to change for if we were to do it next time, or what we've been changing on the fly. I just don't feel like I have a full understanding of that. So where can we find that? Are we getting reports?
Sure. So we do update the city's ERF website monthly or whenever we're in an active zone, as well as we send quarterly reports to the state that are published on their website. In terms of collecting data to inform program design changes, this is something that we just finished with Interfaith, probably in the last week or so, where we put out a survey to all of the housed clients through the program, which was a big undertaking, right? There's a bunch of housed clients, and it takes probably 45 minutes for the case manager to get through a survey with the client, because we wanted to structure it in a way that really fostered a discussion and an open dialogue about what were your experiences prior to ERF, during ERF, and now that you've been housed. I will say that the survey responses were hugely positive. We did identify a couple of gaps where clients really wanted clear explanations of what happens next after they move into housing, and more of an understanding of how the rental subsidy step down would look for them 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, which is something that we're working on, getting onto paper for every client and having one-on-one discussions with them. They would also like to see better training for all staff on assisting them in applying to Social Security or disability benefits, which is something that we're writing into our next ERF application. However, that being said, these survey results were just received in the last week, but we're working on preparing a report for council.
Okay, and so those quarterly reports, can we make sure that those come to council as well, the ones that have to go to the state?
Yes.
And then what does case management look like when folks are in housing? What does that generally
Could you
look?
speak in the mic?
What does case management look like when folks are in the housing?
Case management is weekly, at least, and it is on-site, so in the client's new home or in a location very close to the new home. And it starts with generally a warm handoff from their outreach manager to their new stabilization case manager, who will be with them throughout their housing journey. And then during their weekly meetings, I know they work a lot on income goals, increasing income, whether that's through enrolling for the benefits that they're entitled to or through seeking employment. They also just work on stabilization goals and addressing the transition from living outdoors. Most of our clients, their homelessness has been 3 years or more, with about half of them 6 years or more. So moving inside has been a huge adjustment for them, and just figuring out how to successfully live indoors and maintain that status.
Yeah, it's really challenging work. It's a really ambitious program. That's why, probably why I'm so curious about how it all works. So also, as you're working on the rent step down that you mentioned, so that means when folks get into their housing at first, they have a certain amount of rent. Is that across the board, everyone gets the same rent down, or is it depends on what they qualify for or what kind of housing they got into?
It's individualized. It's something that they come up with together with their case manager. I think going into the program, we understand and we identify early on that some clients, based off of disability status or age, are just not going to reach that self-sufficiency marker, whereas a lot of our clients manage to surprise us. Sometimes it's ones we don't expect, and they're able to achieve self-sufficiency or a reasonable level of it pretty quickly. So it's something that is addressed and kind of come together between the client and the case manager. Across the board, the first 3 months are 100%.
Okay.
And then after that, it's stepped down based on what we think the client can achieve, either through general relief or whatever benefits or any income they already have or can attain.
Deputy Mayor, if I can just summarize everything on to one response. I think to answer your original question and to add on, I think Sophia did a good job describing them. The key part of the success and one of the things that makes it unique is having Sophia in the field. The changes, the evolvement in how the program adapts is live. It happens in real time as we identify new zones. The case management as well, it adapts to the program's need. Each zone has its own different specific subtype. So she's there and communicates what the needs are, and then we adjust our program based on the subpopulation.
Okay. Thank you. And then have we had any challenges? I know in some of our arenas, we've had challenges with staffing from nonprofits that we're contracting with. Have we been able to be fully staffed, or has it shifted back and forth, or how has that looked?
We've been fully staffed, and happy to say that we've retained all of the staff that has come onto the project.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilman Figueroa?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to start off by thanking this team for all the work that you've done with the encampment resolution project. In the February 2025 with the My Point and Count Time volunteer team that I got to be a part of with our assistant city manager, our assistant chief of police. I see some volunteers that were there that are in the audience today that got to walk that encampment. And it was something that continued to be addressed here at council through the senior assisted living folks that were adjacent to that encampment with the fires, with folks having fires in the middle of the night, and their fear with the small business community, with the surrounding community, and to be able to walk those encampments with this team and the partners while that program was being implemented and seeing the relationships established through the partners and through the city staff. It's just phenomenal from the work that this team has done and our other departments like Public Works and Code Enforcement, the Police Department, the Fire Department, all of the partners that have been involved. It's been a huge success, and it's really night and day from what we've seen in the Tri-City area, behind the Hobby Lobby, behind the grocery outlet and the TJ Maxx, College Boulevard, Plaza Drive. Businesses have reopened their bathrooms in certain areas in that plaza. We used to get calls all the time from the Tri-City Plaza, and now all we hear is, thank you. And people were skeptical. When we met with the small businesses, they were skeptical, but it's been about a year, and we haven't had anyone in that area. And to know that we got those folks housed, it's just been remarkable work. So super proud of the work that our city and the partners have done. And with that, I would move approval.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and second. And there are significant reporting requirements from the state. So there's been a lot of information. I think the question was, how do others get that information? So you can, get that on a website or whatever, so that if someone wants to hear about it or know what the results are, it'd be nice for the public to have that information, access to that information. There is a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 22, staff recommends City Council approve the Housing Commission's biennial work plan for fiscal years 25-26 and 26-27. And we have a request to speak from Shelley Parker. Ms. Parker?
Yes, good evening. Shelley Parker. I live in Rancho San Luis Rey. I'm speaking at this moment as the Vice Chair of the Housing Commission. I will speak for myself. Thank you very much. I hope you pass this. We have been 18 months without our work plan, and I would just like to invite anybody who felt that they could not move this plan forward to come and sit at a meeting and talk to us so that we could understand what was going on and to try to increase communications so that in the future we don't have our work plan just stagnate. So thank you very much, and please vote for this so that we can move forward and complete our work plan.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Yeah, for everyone, thank you. For the public, it's like 3 pages of a lot of work that they have outlined that the Housing Commission will be doing. I'm going to go ahead and move approval. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I just, as the liaison to the Housing Commission, I just want to share some of the commentary from that meeting. There was a lot of frustration, and this is not, this happens, I know, with commissions because folks jump on a commission from our city because they want to get into the work and they want to be a contributor to what we do because everybody wants to be a part of the amazing work that this city does. And they felt very frustrated by not being able to get their work plan a fair hearing after they had an ad hoc committee that did a lot of work on it. So I would recommend that we approve the original work plan that they brought forward and let them do the work that they prescribed to do. It's midway through 2026, so there's only 6 months left on the work plan that we're even asked to approve here. So they'll be doing this again in 6 months. But at this point, I think it respects their work, their time, their efforts, their patience to approve the work plan that they put forward.
Thank you, Councilmember Weiss.
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Okay, thank you. There is a motion and second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 401. Joyce Snow.
Thank you. Item number 28, we're now on general items. Staff recommends City Council approve the fiscal year 26-27 Measure X Youth Program Professional Services Agreements for a total of $714,470. Appropriate that amount from the assigned Measure X fund balance and authorize the city manager to execute the agreements upon receipt of all supporting documents. And we have a presentation by Ms. Michelle Gare, Management Analyst. Ms. Gare?
Are we on? Yeah, we are. Okay. Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, City Manager. My name is Michelle Gear for the record, and I'm here to talk about our Measure X process this year. We do recommend that the City Council approve the Measure X PSAs this year for a total of $714,470, and that we do appropriate $140,470 from the assigned Measure X fund balance, and have the city manager execute those agreements once we get all of the supporting documentation. This year, the requests for proposals were issued for Measure X youth programs in February, and we gave our proposers a good long time to come up with the best programs that they could come up with. Proposals were due on May 1st. Programs were reviewed by an independent committee made up of people from Oceanside, and all of the ratings were aligned. The criteria for the reviewers was to rate the proposals based on history and capacity of the organization, the population and that they served, the geography, so the location of where they were providing this service, the neighborhoods, the program design, the evaluation component. All of the Measure X programs have to have an evaluation component, and the staffing experience and qualifications. We wanted to make sure that our kids in Oceanside were getting the best of the best, and of course, the budget request. As I mentioned, the reviewers were aligned, and here is the breakdown of the budget this year. So as we said, $714,470 will be granted to community organizations. $290,000 will be allocated to city-run after-school programs. $100,000 to the Oceanside Public Library for the youth programs. $120,000 to Oceanside Parks and Recreation Department for quality after-school programs, and $70,000 for Oceanside Police Department for OYP program, which serves at-risk youth in our community. The total funding for Measure X this year is $1,004,470, and that's pretty standard for Measure X. So the programs that were chosen or selected to be funded this year range. There were 21 proposals, 14 of those proposals were chosen. All of them have a positive youth development model. They represent workforce development, after-school programs, culture and art programs, mentorship, mental health, and sporting programs. As you can see up there, this is the first page of the list. So it's a Vista Community Clinic Project Reach program, which is after school at the John Landis Community Center. Vista Community Clinic Project Reach program for the Libby Lake Community Center. The Boys and Girls Club for their Cook program, which is their food truck program, workforce development. Oceanside Theater Company for their Theater to Thrive program. Project Next for their focused futures at El Camino High School, hopefully soon to move to Oceanside High School. True Care for their Puzzling Minds programs with our middle schoolers. Un Mar de Colores, and I apologize for my Spanish accent, it's terrible, for their Oceanside Stewards program. Grupo Folklorico de Tapatio of Oceanside for two programs, one at John Landis Community Center and one at the Balderrama Recreation Center. Botanical Community Development Initiatives, their Reaching Roots program, which is a workforce development program for kids, and Lifeline Community Services for the La Casita After School program in Crown Heights. Lifeline Community Services La Escuelita for their after-school program for high schoolers in Crown Heights, or high school and middle school. The North County LGBTQ Resource Center for their Project Youth and Unicorn Homes program. Poseidon Foundation for What's Your Superpower program, and Native Pathways for their programs in our community centers across Oceanside. All of the programs were selected for their experience, their expertise, and their ability to deliver these high-quality programs to Oceanside youth who need it most. All of the programs had a clear path for recruiting youth, for engaging our youth, and for retaining the youth in the programs. So we do recommend that you approve our Measure X professional services agreements.
Thank you very much. Do we have any requests to speak from the public?
Yes, we have 2 requests to speak from the public. Our first speaker is Lisa Archibald, to be followed by Michaela.
Thank you. Lisa Archibald?
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Lisa Archibald. I'm the Director of Community Programs at Vista Community Clinic. We, as a community health center, VCC, believes that health and wellness extends far beyond the 4 walls of our clinic. Healthy communities are built when young people have a safe place to learn, grow, and thrive. In the late 90s, in response to rising teen pregnancy rates, VCC launched Project REACH, a structured after-school youth development program. For nearly 3 decades, we have been proud to partner with the City of Oceanside to invest in youth and strengthen our communities. Project REACH provides much more than a safe place for young people after school. It offers academic support, leadership development, positive role models, enrichment opportunities, and meaningful connections that help youth build confidence and resilience. These experiences create protective factors that support long-term success both in schools and in life. The true value of REACH is found in the things that are harder to measure, through friendships, mentorship, a sense of belonging, and knowing there is a trusted adult who cares about their future. These connections help young people feel seen, supported, and engaged in their communities. We see this impact firsthand. When REACH Landis opened this past fall, parents who had once participated in the program as youth were returned to enroll their own children into the program. That speaks volumes about the lasting influence of this program and the trust families place in it. This fall, Project REACH will celebrate its 30th anniversary, a testament to VCC's commitment to Oceanside's youth and the city's longstanding investment in prevention, opportunity, and community well-being. More to come on celebration activities. On behalf of VCC, our staff, and the families we serve, thank you for your continued partnership and for support of Project REACH. Thank you.
Thank you. Michaela. Poseidon.
Thank you, City Council members, Deputy Mayor and Mayor, and to everyone involved with the city that's supporting What's Your Superpower. One of the reasons why I'm speaking today is because I want to make sure that our youth programs within the city don't continue to get cut and budget cuts. And I always do this backwards, so I'm going to need help. But I want to show a quick video of why it's so important, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it. Four years old when she was introduced to crack cocaine.
I was introduced to drugs at a very young age. I was about 14 years old, and my mother introduced me to it, and I did not take off right there. About when I was 16 is when I really took off.
So your mom was a user as well?
Unfortunately, yes.
What was the substance that she introduced you to?
My mom introduced me to heroin. All I really wanted was to bond with my mom.
So I wanted to introduce, and I have many, many, many videos like this that I've been collecting just to show the importance it is to really advocate for our youth within our city. Because though we may not see it, the impact is great, and it starts at a young age. So being able to have events and resources and run programs where children feel heard, seen, and visible, and know that there's community members and nonprofits that have been selected as other nonprofits within our city that help advocate for the youth. It's so important. They are our future. We shouldn't be taking away funding from our future. We should actually be investing in our future 100%. So I just want to say thank you again. We couldn't do this without your support. And we're always open to any ideas how we can elevate our youth and what you guys find as success as well. So we understand this is a partnership. So we want to elevate our partnership and reaching as many kids as we can. So thank you.
Thank you. No other speakers, correct? To the council, I'm going to go ahead and move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you for all the work on this. I know this is challenging because you have to actually say no to people who are trying to help kids, and that's hard. That's a really hard position to be in. It's not fair. We shouldn't put you in that position. We should let you say yes. So in looking at the numbers in what was requested and what was awarded, I'm really worried about the allocation to the Crown Heights neighborhood specifically. And you can pull up the different programs and you look at what's requested and what's awarded. And it seems like we are more closely fully funding in the east side, in Libby Lake, and in John Landis. Libby Lake and John Landis both got their full request. The City of Oceanside does a Parks and Rec program that is getting more than the Crown Heights neighborhood. And the Lifeline services that requested to do the programs in the Crown Heights neighborhood received less than half of what they asked to run their programs. I understand that we have to do some kind of process here, but the services that are provided to the young people of that neighborhood are daily, they are life-changing, and I got to shake a few of the kids' hands as they walked across the stage that came out of that program just last week. Who had tears in their eyes. I've seen them in the program for year after year after year. And even though the people that work in that program have had to change frequently because it's underfunded to the point where the folks cannot stay in that position long enough because we are underfunding it. So I would make a motion to amend that we fully fund the Lifeline request for their youth program for both the teens and the children in the Crown Heights neighborhood, and that we take it from Measure X assigned funding just like we did for the others. So that'd be my motion to amend.
Councilmember Weiss, and I think that we're not showing here the Resource Center for Crown Heights, so it's actually a bigger investment. We've actually been doing a lot of investment in Crown Heights, especially in the last couple of years. But Councilmember Weiss?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to say, when we look at different issues, I think we need to also take into consideration the unintended consequences of making certain decisions. So when we decided to evict the San Diego Rescue Mission from the Navigation Center, we added a $1.6 million a year hit to Measure X that, had we not done that, would be available for youth programs, infrastructure programs, or whatever the case may be. And by doing that, we impacted other programs that otherwise may have been funded. So I'm going to support the mayor's motion as I seconded it and go from there. I'm not going to support the amended motion.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second.
I had my speaker request was there.
Just now. Deputy Mayor?
So just again, before we move on, because it sounds like we're about to vote, these are not buildings that we're talking about. We're talking about people. And when children come to a center to get care after school, if there's not a human there to take care of them because it's not being paid for, then they don't have anywhere to go. So half funding an after-school program is not funding an after-school program. We can look at how we rearrange, and I would actually ask this council to really take this up in the fall to talk about this program holistically, because there's been changes to it massively in the last 3 years. But here today, I have kids in my neighborhood who are seeing their after-school program cut, and I'm asking for support there. If you're not going to support the amendment, then help us figure out how we're going to get funding for those after-school programs. The kids are going to be there. They have stuck with us in a trailer because we've been working on that center for over a year. And now we're going to get back to having a building for them, but we've cut the funding for their mentors. So,
Councilmember Figueroa?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I've been a part of, when it comes to the REACH programs and with doing work with the Lifeline program since 2013, and I was there when we lost the Cal Grit funding, and the city stepped in with the bridge funding to support these 3 programs, which the city didn't support, I believe, outside of CDBG dollars. And I know that as far as to Club Crown Heights, what used to be Project REACH Balderrama and Project REACH Libby Lake, before Landis was implemented, it was supported by general fund dollars and CDBG. Those were the 2 primary sources post 2013, correct? And then 2 years ago, it was the first time they started receiving Measure X dollars, correct? For my understanding, can staff share with me how much Club Crown Heights is receiving via general fund dollars and Measure X to know what their full financial support is from the city, along with the CDBG, because I'm assuming those are the 3 sources, correct? Yeah.
So the older student program, which is La Escuelita, is receiving roughly about $70,000 from GAP funding for general fund, and they receive an additional $18,000 from CDBG.
Okay. And then from Measure X?
The recommendation was for $50,000.
Okay. And then for the Balderrama program now that is being operated by the city, how much is that after-school program receiving? Do we know total?
There is no funding from the current Measure X dollars for that program. The funding that's going to Parks and Rec is for different programming.
So for the 200 and, or what is it, is 120 that I saw? None of that's going to the Balderrama?
No, it's new funding, but last year they received close to $19,000 for Measure X for the Balderrama program under Parks and Rec.
Okay. Do we know what the funding, how much Parks and Rec is running the Balderrama program with?
Unfortunately, I don't have those answers.
Manny, can you share?
Councilmember Figueroa, Manny Gonzalez, Director of Parks and Recreation. The funding that we have for the teen program at Balderrama is about $95,000. The $120,000 for Measure X is for our teen night program that will be during the summer months, primarily at Melba Bishop, but also we'll have a couple of dates at Libby Lake and Balderrama, as well as some deep sea fishing programming and our mobile recreation.
So the Balderrama new Balderrama after-school program, that's no longer after-school programming is no longer being operated by Vista Community Clinics Project REACH, but now it's being operated by Parks and Rec, is running that full program with only $95,000?
That's correct.
Okay. And then Crown Heights is running their after-school program with $138,000. That's including CDBG, Measure X, and General Fund, correct? And then Libby Lake Reach is operating with what support from the city? How much? With CDBG, General Fund, and Measure X.
CDBG is 18,000. The Measure X recommendation was for 55. And I believe they had 80,000 that was being recommended or is being offered for GAP.
Okay, so it's 153. And then John Landis is operating at 150.
At 150, yes.
And they're not receiving anything from General Fund, and they don't receive CDBG?
That would be correct.
So that's why they're getting the 150, is because they're not receiving the other two sources?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so just to put in context, those are the areas within our city that operate after-school program in our underserved neighborhoods where we have community resource centers. These programs are operating out of city-owned properties, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think for context for me, because when we lost the CalGRIT funding in 2013, and I was running Project Reach Libby Lake at that time, and that's when the city stepped in to support. My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I know you were there during that time as well. Crown Heights, Balderrama, and Libby were all operating under the same budget, correct, as far as city support?
CDBG.
Yeah, yes, they were similar.
With General Fund and CDBG at the time,
Yes.
correct? It was pretty much, so for the 138 that Club Crown Heights is operating under, is that because right now, for these first 2 months, they're still operating out of the trailer before the building opens? I'm just trying to understand context on why they're receiving 12 and 13,000 less than John Landis and Balderrama. Or Libby and John Landis, I apologize.
So one of the difference between the Balderrama location when Reach was there and the Crown Heights location is they have no overhead for the rent.
Okay.
Libby Lake and John Landis, they do have an overhead. They pay for staffing when they extended their hours. And at Libby Lake, they actually pay CAM charges, cost area maintenance, for the space that they have there. So there's an additional cost that they have.
So it's similar, same operating budget pretty much when it comes to staff and what goes back into the youth program?
Correct.
Okay, that provides context for me. And I don't know why I didn't, and I apologize for not asking this in advance. How come the Resource Center funding is not added to this year's funding? I didn't see, I know that in Crown Heights, it was on there before and it's not there now. Is that because it's operating out of a trailer, or why is that?
No, there's a person there.
Yeah, but how come it's not added to?
In fact, there were 2 people that were working. All the others just have one resource.
But didn't Lifeline receive funding for the Resource Center prior? For Crown Heights, again, we're talking about Crown Heights, I apologize for.
There was a program the last couple of years for gang prevention that went from Resource Center to Resource Center to Resource Center.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
And so I think that's what you're referring to, and that was through Lifeline. We just didn't have the funding for that. And the program, I think, I can see it, having seen the program and work with Lifeline, I think that there is a place for that program in a workforce development type program. I think that would be beneficial. I'm not sure. Yeah, there just isn't enough money to go around. There wasn't a single program that applied that was not a great program. So it was just tough decisions, and we went with the programs that maybe were a little bit more, I don't want to say successful, but really provided a need and filled, a service gap in the community.
I think my main thing was making sure that, again, I was here when we never used to receive funding from the city when it came to the Reach, the Libby Lake, Balderrama, and Crown Heights programs, and now I'm thankful that we have a program at John Landis, but it's always just been important to me to make sure that whatever Libby and now John Landis is receiving, that Lifeline receives equal to that. And I think it just provides context for me, because I'm sitting here looking and I'm like, why are they receiving $12,000 less than our other after-school programs? But if you're saying it's to cover the cost of rent, then that makes sense. So, thank you.
All right, there is a motion and a second. Deputy Mayor, you wanted to say a few words before we vote because we're actually 10 minutes into 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Just a reminder that this neighborhood is the deepest poverty in our entire city. So while we do want to make sure that there is some equity along funding, the need for child care and empowerment and mentorship is the deepest where we have our deepest poverty. And we should be investing more there.
Thank you, and that I probably would be a debate on that, but let's just go ahead and there's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. On to our public hearing items. We'll get back to the general items after we complete our public hearing items. Public hearing items are meant to be heard starting at 6 o'clock. We do have 3 public hearing items. Going to go ahead and start with the first one. Item number 31. Staff recommends City Council approve the department's annual military equipment use inventory list as required by Assembly Bill 481. I'm going to go ahead and open this public hearing and request disclosures from council members regarding constituent contacts.
Staff only.
Staff report.
Staff?
Staff report.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, do we have any correspondence and or petitions?
We do not have any correspondence or petition on this item.
All right, thank you. We're going to go ahead and begin with a presentation by John McKeon, Assistant Police Chief. Chief McKeon?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, City Council members, and the public. I'm John McKeon, a proud Assistant Chief of Police of the Oceanside Police Department. I'm here tonight to present the annual AB 481 Military Equipment Report authorizing the city's military equipment for the police department. The recommendation is for staff and the staff and the Police Fire Commission recommended City Council adopt a resolution approving the department's annual military equipment use policy and inventory list as required by AB 481. Just for a little bit of background, AB 481 requires all equipment designated as military equipment by the California State Legislature that is possessed by law enforcement agencies to be inventoried. This inventory provides the governing body over the law enforcement agency, which is here the City Council. We are required to provide an annual report on this equipment, including its purpose, its utilization. This is subject to a public hearing and approval made by resolution. The time frame for this report this year is from June 30th of 2024 or 2025 through July 1st here of 2026. Before I proceed, I just want to just reiterate that we're not here asking for any new equipment during this presentation here. This is just an overview of what we used over this last year. This came about in 2022 as far as Assembly Bill 481. The equipment was currently inventoried, has been approved by City Council in the past. It's been approved by through this time frame. Or excuse me, it's been approved in the past by resolution. And once again, the time frame is July 1st, 2025 to today, June 17th, 2026. The required reporting things that we're obligated to report are as far as any internal or external complaints of use of any of the military equipment. I am proud to say that there was none this year, as of most years. It was all used anytime we use any of the equipment there's some type of mini investigation that's done. Everything was done within existing policies. The summary of what we are going to and how we use it is done during the presentation, which I'll get into here in a minute. And the intent to inquire any new equipment. In the future here, we will be requesting to 2 more drones when the next budget goes into effect in July for a drone as a first responder program. The total costs associated with this equipment, it was posted on our transparency website under AB 41 back on May 12th of this year, which is a 30-day prior to the public hearing that it has to be posted for public view. All right, the first thing we'll talk about here is our unmanned aerial system, or our drones, UASs, and our robots. I will say we did have a robot last year. That robot is no longer serviceable, and we've gotten rid of that out of our inventory, so we don't have any robots that are there. We have a total of 16 UASs. They are all serviceable. We only use about a handful of them, but the other ones are still in our inventory. We still use them for training and some other things, but we only use about 6 or 7 of the drones at any given time. You're going to see our flight hours have increased dramatically over last year. It's because of our drone as a first responder program that we fly throughout most of the year. None of our drones that we use are not on any kind of surveillance, just for, going out onto the neighborhoods anywhere in the city. It's all based on calls for service. Is the only time that we fly for drones and pre-planned SWAT warrants. The next item that we've used over the last year is our armored vehicle, or our Bearcat. We had 32 deployments of our armored car over this last year, and this is normally done for pre-planned SWAT warrants, patrol when we have some type of a situation where we need more armor. It's available for our patrol units to take out there to provide safety for our officers when out there when they're dealing with some type of a armed suspect. The other things that we've used is our crisis negotiator vehicle and our mobile command vehicle. These are designated, even though they don't look like a military vehicle, they are command and control, which is considered military equipment per AB 41. We use our crisis negotiator vehicle 10 times over this course of the year, and this is normally for our SWAT warrants. We send them out there just in case they're needed. They're involved in our SWAT warrants, and they're the ones that try to make communication with people if we need to. Our mobile command vehicle there, you only use it about once a year. We haven't had any major incidents. Normally we take it out for the 4th of July, and that's our command post when we're out in the field dealing with the 4th of July crowds. Our less lethal deployments, I will say, are about the same they have been in the last couple of years. Are actually pepper ball launchers that we've used. We actually came down. We've only used it twice in the last year, so it hasn't been used that much. Our less lethal shotguns, we've had 3 deployments, and our 40 millimeter sponge round, 1 deployment, and these are all due to armed suspects that were non-compliant, but it's a very low time that we use that. We haven't used it very much, which is very good. Our light sound track distraction devices there, we use them 11 times for SWAT warrants and missions, and we use 7 during training. And I will say, I believe almost all of the 11 used were used just a couple months ago when we had the homicide out on Falling Leaf, and we had the suspect who was still in the house that was non-compliant there. We used that to grab some attention. And basically, those are really big, loud firecrackers. In summary, that's the equipment that we use. I'm here to ask that you accept and adopt the resolution as required by AB 41, and I am available for questions if there are any.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Did anybody sign up to speak on this item?
Yes, we
Mr.
have
Brown?
2 registered speakers on this.
Okay,
item.
this is a public hearing. For public hearings, you don't have to actually sign up, but we will go ahead and take on, listen or hear from the folks who first signed up, and then after that, I will ask if anyone else wishes to address the council on this item. Mr. Knott?
Mary Davis is first.
Mary Davis?
Oh. Okay. Ms. Davis?
Yeah, I have a little graphic I want to set up for your little. And then, I'm sorry, do I get 2 or 3 minutes?
3.
3. I'll try to not take full. Hi, good evening. Mary Davis here. First of all, I want to say I strongly support law enforcement and the job they do and the danger that they put themselves in. But for this law, I adamantly oppose a bad state legislation. Imagine that the U.S. Postal Service required you to tape a notice on your mailbox informing all passerbys of your home and family's personal security measures, the number and location of all your security cameras, the type of alarm system you use, any devices you might keep for personal protection, or details about future upgrades. It's ridiculous. And yet that's what we ask of our government. Yes, transparency has a place, but so does common sense. This ill-conceived mandatory disclosure law is essentially that California requires law enforcement agencies to do under AB 481, publicly catalog equipment, capabilities, inventories, usage, and future acquisition plans. In other words, Sacramento requires police departments to sit down at a proverbial poker table with their cards facing out for any and all opponents to see. My concern is not with the Oceanside Police Department. They do an honorable and excellent job and are in compliance with the law. They're simply doing what they were expected and told to do. My concern is with a legislature that seems unwilling to distinguish between public accountability and tactical self-sabotage that puts officers and citizens at risk. The average Oceanside resident is not combing through these reports looking for weaknesses, but there are many out there who are. We've seen evidence of that this weekend. We could look at the UFC fight at DC, or a blast from the past, 1997, the North Hollywood shootout, where they were vastly outarmed over the police. That resulted in a 44-minute gun battle in the streets of North Hollywood. Today, a very foreseeable lesson from AB 481 is that government shouldn't advertise their defensive capabilities to enable those looking for weaknesses. Lastly, in celebration of America's 250th birthday, God bless our police officers, God bless our military service members, and God bless the USA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Knott?
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Sherry Lane. Also, senior advocate. I read the report, all 52 pages of it, but I'm not going to comment on the 117 AR-15s that have been acquired. I'm not going to reply to the drone Air Force that's being assembled. But what I will reply to is the effect of the CS gas that our police department is obtaining on seniors. The Center for Disease Control, I was astounded into the report talking about the non-lethal weapons. If you read the CDC report, it says very simply that it can result in death. And it does require that people remove, the seniors especially, their clothing, that they do take a bath afterwards, and they seek medical attention if they have certain medical problems. And all that 52 pages, I never saw a rinsing station or some form of clothing that could be changed into. I never saw a system for medical care for our seniors that would be supplied to them, that could be, requested from the U.S. military or any other agency. I can see them obtaining necessary items, but anytime you have a right to something, you have a responsibility as well. And if it's involving a senior or child, You need to take extra precautions. This is something that we need to stop and think about. Instead of just saying protect, 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 we need to start thinking, okay, proper protection, proper safety, and helping those who may be accidentally exposed to something that may cause a dramatic problem such as injury or death. I will submit this to the city.
Thank you, Mr. Knott. Anyone else wishing to speak? This item is regarding a request that the City Council approve the department's annual military equipment use inventory list as required by Assembly Bill 481. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Rise, you can approach the podium, state your name, and you have up to 3 minutes. I see no one else rising. I'm going to go ahead and close this portion of the public hearing and go back to the council. Councilmember Weiss.
Yes, I have a question for Chief McKean. So in the list of non-lethal weapons, would a taser be considered non-lethal?
Yes, it is.
So when so I take it your officers are trained in the use of tasers?
Councilman Weiss, yes, they are.
So do they train on dummies?
Yes, they do.
Okay, thank you. I'll move approval of staff recommendation.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Robinson.
Normally, I probably wouldn't do this, but Mr. Knott, since he spoke and probably has a bunch of seniors all worried, I'll just let you know that for any exposure to any of those kind of gases that the chief talked about, every EMT and every paramedic in this city has the skills and the at-hand equipment to treat. Nothing is really special that's required. You treat the symptoms, you decon them and see what symptoms they have, and it would, nothing that we wouldn't carry already.
Yes, Councilman Robertson, that's a good point. And to Mr. Knott's question there, anytime we use any type of less lethal, they are always cleared by paramedics or Tri-City Medical Center. We take them there. We don't just use it and leave everybody for their own there. If there's any type of symptoms, they're treated by paramedics. Anytime we use it during SWAT warrants, we have SWAT medics that are on scene with us. They're all evaluated on scene and cleared before we leave.
Is that a second? Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 32. And I'm sorry, I should state that item 33, public hearing, is actually being continued to the August 5th, 2026 meeting. So item number 32, staff recommends City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt resolutions accepting the 5-year economic development subsidy report for the Oceanside Pier Resort Hotels, that's the Seabird Resort and Mission Pacific Beach Resort, and the 5-year economic development subsidy report for CarMax in accordance with Government Code Section 53083. I'd like to go ahead and open this public hearing, request a disclosure from council members regarding constituent contacts and or correspondence.
Staff only.
Staff.
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 Thank you. Mr. Varall, do we have any correspondence and or petitions?
We have not had any correspondence or petition on this item.
All right, thank you. We're going to go ahead and get a presentation from Michelle Geller, our Economic Development Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight to present the required economic development subsidy updates for the beach resorts and CarMax in accordance with California Government Code Section 53083, which was enacted in 2014 and is essentially a transparency law that requires cities to provide reports to the public on any subsidies over $100,000 in public funds or foregone revenue to stimulate economic development. The recommendation tonight is to adopt the resolutions accepting the economic development subsidy updates. First, the beach resorts. In 2014, the city entered into an economic development incentive agreement with the developer SD Malkin to build a 4-star hotel in downtown Oceanside to serve as a catalyst project for revitalization. In addition to increasing tourism and activating the beachfront, it would generate long-term benefits through tax revenue and job creation. The project was originally expected to open in 2 phases, about 1 year apart, but both the Seabird Resort and the Mission Pacific Beach Resort ended up both opening in May of 2021. The city's commitment totals approximately $11.3 million in present value transient occupancy tax, or TOT, rebates to the developer. Per the agreement, for the first 3 years of operation, 100% of the TOT generated was reimbursed to the developer, and from year 4 onward, there's the tiered revenue sharing that you see in the report divided across the 2 hotel properties. TOT revenue performance has exceeded projections with approximately $11.7 million of TOT generated in the resort's first 4 years of operation. Based on this performance, the city's Financial Services Department expects that the Mission Pacific subsidy obligation will be completed next fiscal year, after which the city will keep 100% of the TOT from that hotel, and the Seabirds is expected to complete its obligation in fiscal year 2032, so about 4 years earlier than forecast. In addition to exceeding revenue projections, the resorts also exceeded job projections, creating a total of 445 jobs, including 334 full-time jobs, which is over 100 more jobs than was forecast. And now on to CarMax. In 2018, the city approved an economic development subsidy to attract a CarMax dealership to the vacant 10.5-acre site adjacent to the DMV. The agreement was intended to stimulate taxable sales, support job creation, and activate a vacant commercial site. The agreement reimburses CarMax up to $5 million over a maximum of 10 years, requiring a minimum of $10 million of new taxable gross retail sales per fiscal year to receive a reimbursement for that year. The city retains a base amount of $100,000 per year, which increases by 3% annually. The CarMax Oceanside opened in September 2022, and in the report you'll see that the projections were very close to the actual sales tax revenue generated, which totals about $1.8 million since the dealership opened just under 4 years ago. CarMax created 52 total jobs, which is fewer than the originally projected 65 to 85 jobs, and that's mainly due to industry-wide shifts towards digital car sales and operational efficiencies. Both economic development subsidy agreements are performing as intended, with the hotel outperforming revenue expectations and CarMax generating steady tax revenue. The update reports are posted on the city's website and will remain there, along with the original agreements per the state's transparency law governing economic development subsidies. So to conclude, it is my recommendation, staff's recommendation, that City Council adopt the resolutions accepting the economic development subsidy updates for the beach resorts and CarMax, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. This is a time to hear from the public. How many folks have signed up to speak on this item?
We do not have any registered speakers
right.
for this item.
Okay, so as stated, you do not have to have signed up for this. If you wish to address the council on this item, simply rise, approach the podium, and you have up to 3 minutes to speak. I see no one rising, so I'm going to go ahead and close this part of the public hearing and go to the council. Councilmember Weiss?
Move approval, staff recommendation.
Thank you. There's a second. Deputy Mayor?
In total, do we have the actual number of the subsidy, the amount of subsidy that the 2 hotels will get together? Is there a total?
It's around $30 million. It's there on page 3 of the staff report, Deputy Mayor.
That's how much they've received so far?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying total in the whole. So far?
Yeah.
So that, the reimbursement so far, is that what you're asking? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
It's an actual fund.
So
it's the
as
next
of
page.
for April 30th, 2025, 10.9 million. I hope I'm reading that correctly. Yes. On page 4 of the staff report.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll see present value is valued at 6.3 million.
Yeah, can you explain that for folks that are looking at the chart? How does present value come about?
It's a bit complicated, so hopefully I can, but essentially when the deal was struck in 2014, they were talking about You know, $1 million in 2014 is significantly different than $1 million in 2026. So there is a discount rate applied so that they are, you know, talking about the future value of the money, essentially, when it comes to inflation, and also that money could have been invested over time. And so yes, that is.
So basically, because we're paying them later in the deal, that actual dollar is worth less comparatively, because they could have been investing that money if we paid them right at the jump of the deal?
Yes, that money was worth more when the deal was struck. Yeah.
And this was struck in 2014, you said?
2014, and the discount rate is based on when in 2019, when I believe the property actually became the developer's property.
Thank you for that clarification.
Right, and things had to change really quickly because redevelopment was forced to end, and everything had to be wrapped up within 6 months. So we actually had a different agreement financially, and had to come up with something new to be able to pursue the project, to make sure that the project actually ended up happening, rather than the county auctioning off the land.
Yes, when redevelopment dissolved in 2010, that definitely added more challenges to the project.
Right. Thank you. Councilmember Figueroa?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one question on the CarMax. Did the clock start on the subsidy agreement on November 28, 2018, or when the dealership opened in 2022?
The clock began basically when activity began with the dealership. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So technically we didn't have to come right this moment, but figured do it at once, yeah.
And just based on the rate that the market is currently going in, we'll possibly maybe conclude before the 10 years? It's possible.
Our financial services department could probably answer that better than I can, but I think it's a bit early, but so far it's on track.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
There is a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Going back to the general items, item number 29, staff recommends City Council approve the fiscal year 26-27 professional services agreements for Oceanside Drug-Free Community Initiative Program providers in the total amount of $340,000, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreements upon receipt of all supporting documents. So we have a presentation by Michelle Gare, management analyst.
Hello again, Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
You're back again.
Council members, I'm back again. For the record, I am Michelle Gear. And let's get started. So yes, I am here to recommend that you approve the PSAs for the opioid funding in the amount of $340,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreements when we receive the supporting documents. So just a little background for the opioid settlement funding. It is intended for remediation activities focused on prevention, intervention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery services. The caveat that I think people sometimes forget is that 50% of the opioid settlement funding must be used for treatment and abatement activities. So it has to be a high-impact abatement activity. And I know that that's confusing sometimes. So just for example, a treatment program that actually has, treatment counseling, uses best practices, is a high-impact abatement activity. A prevention program that talks to kids about drug use is not. So just to make sure that we're all on the same page. This year, we had 8 proposals. We have recommend 6 for funding. So the 6 that were, and they were also evaluated by substance use disorder experts, people who work in that field for a living. So Boys and Girls Club had Healthy Minds, Healthy Lives, which is a evidence-based program that is actually national in the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And it does a deep dive into substance use disorder, and they have this program for their middle school and high school kids. The North County LGBTQ Resource Center has their Thrive Out Loud after-school program, and this is focused on resilience and substance use disorder for kids who identify as LGBTQ or not. And they have a very, very comprehensive program there. True Care has the peer-to-peer program, which is best practice peer advocacy and peer referrals. Lifeline Community Services has the only youth substance use disorder treatment program in Oceanside. So that obviously got the bulk of the funding. Mano a Mano is a Spanish language specifically opioid prevention. They had conferences, and so they're reaching the Spanish-speaking community of Oceanside. And Vista Community Clinic has a youth substance use disorder prevention program that is comprehensive and in the schools. So that's pretty much it. So we do recommend that council approves the PSAs for those programs, and that's all I've got.
Thank you. Do we have any requests to speak from the public?
We have one request to speak from the public from Michaela.
Ms. Ramirez?
All right. Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to speak on behalf of the opioid. I really feel our program with What's Your Superpower, we actually expanded everything. We took all recommendations and feedback with what we've been doing. We actually created a 12-year program, not 12-year, but 12-month program that's once a month. And I know it was something that I even spoke with Jimmy Figueroa and, the last city council meeting and stuff. I understand that Poseidon didn't receive the grant for this one this time, but I want to see how I can meet those requirements for next year, because I really want to expand what we do, just not from a yearly event, but just seeing how we can make impact in youth's lives, even if it's just once a month, and doing it in different districts of Oceanside and creating that awareness, or even meeting up with schools and going to their school programs as, PTAs always have those assemblies, and being able to have people we work with be able to go into the school programs and speak to kids from like a real level, one that they could resonate with, and people that they would look up to, from scientists and doctors and athletes, and including our, para-athlete community, and just kind of see how we can go ahead. Because I know each year we get these feedbacks and we get recommendations, and we meet with everyone, and I do even more work, and I try to really hit those. And I know it's hard when you're new, trying to start a new program, but I'm really dedicated to this mission, especially with the videos I showed earlier. The younger we can get them, even in the adolescent stage, I think we'll be able to have a turnaround. Right now, it's a fad. It's a fad within our community to celebrate sobriety. So let's have it year round. Sorry, I'm nervous on this one for some reason, but thank you again. We are very, very appreciative of the support, and anything we can continue to do to gain more support, to be able to elevate and help our youth of Oceanside is very important to us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's it for public
no other
comments. Okay. I do understand this is a very stringent, that this program has very stringent requirements. So I do hope that staff continues to work with Ms. Ramirez, who has incredible contacts with our youth, especially those at risk of becoming addicted, be it those that are disabled for an accident or, for other reasons, and they are dealing with pain management, and then sometimes it's just so very difficult to deal with that, but also youth. And I think one of the videos had someone who was very young introduced, and especially by their mom, to drugs, which I know happens here in Oceanside. So I'm hoping that we continue to get out to the community and really address this on the streets, so to speak, especially since she does have so much commitment to this, and so much energy, and the kids just, I mean, she's like a Pied Piper, especially in the skating community. But anyway, Councilmember Figueroa?
Thank you, Mayor. Really good, happy to see Lifeline receiving support through this. Their case managers are the best that we have here in North County. And I want to speak to the Mano a Mano Foundation, Doctora Beatriz, being someone that's been a nonprofit for 20 years and doing this work here in our community. She by far is the best communicator with parents that I've seen, and not just in North County, but our entire region. Her ability to communicate with our Spanish-speaking parents, there's no one like her that can engage a room, but really educate parents. And so it's really good I'm really happy to see her getting that support through the City of Oceanside, because she's been doing these conferences and classes in Oceanside for a very, very long time. And I just want to make sure that she continues to get the support, because she will pack a room and parents walk out with so much information. Her ability to just communicate the harms of substance abuse is, she's phenomenal. And so I just wanted to share that. And I would move approval.
You moved approval? Okay. Councilmember Robinson?
Thank you. I'll go ahead and second it, but I just want to take just a quick second to thank staff for, I know we all got offered briefings and hopefully we took them, but I want to thank you for taking the time. Mine was in a moving vehicle while I'm going down the road, and it was a little more difficult. You had to explain some of the charts and things to me and answer a lot of questions. So I really appreciate your diligence and everybody taking the time to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, and it must have been really, really tough. And was that a second? Yeah. Okay. I know it's tough, these applications, and trying to figure out, but this one especially is, the requirements are really high. It's amazing how high they are. So thank you. There is a motion and second. Deputy Mayor?
Just a question for staff, and I think it's probably for the city manager. Are we looking at all of our youth programming holistically? Are we going to have that conversation in the fall? Because I know we're talking about cannabis funding coming online too. And so we just have a lot of different things going on. Are we planning on taking up like a comprehensive look at that at some point?
To look at this specific item, because we can't talk about anything else.
This is part of our overall funding for youth in our city. There are several youth programs on here that overlap with other programs that we have in the city. So it's a general question related to the topic.
I think that might be slightly off topic, but if you could stick to the topic, Mr. Borrego.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor and Council members, yes, there is certainly different, variety of programs that we fund using a variety of funding sources. And, we don't necessarily, staff has not received direction at this point to bring back a comprehensive item to council for discussion, but if that's the council's desire, then we'd certainly be happy to do so.
Thank you. There is a motion and second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
And that was on the opioid use of the funds that we get, yes, through that settlement. All right, item number 30, staff recommends City Council adopt a resolution approving and implementing the compensation plan for unrepresented employees effective July 1st, 2026. For all unrepresented approved hourly, extra help, seasonal, and executive classifications, including city manager and city attorney. We have a presentation by Mr. Rob O'Brien, Deputy City Manager.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of City Council. Robert O'Brien, Deputy City Manager. Before you this evening is the proposed updated revision to the compensation plan for unrepresented employees. Tonight's brief presentation will provide an overview of the group's composition, the key elements to the revised compensation plan, and the estimated net new cost impact of the changes over the course of 2 fiscal years. Now, the compensation plan is a policy document that outlines the wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment for employees not otherwise covered under a collective bargaining contract through a labor association or a union. The composition of the classifications that make up the unrepresented group ranges from support staff on up to management and executive classifications, including the city manager and the city attorney. In total, the unrepresented group has 146 active full-time, part-time benefited employees. This does exclude elected officials and 304 hourly extra help employees. One note I'd like to make is that EMTs and the fuels crew are excluded from the extra help employee count, and I'll go into that a little bit later. So in summary, the key changes to the compensation plan are as follows. All full-time classifications, including the city manager and city attorney, listed under the compensation plan shall receive increases of 3% in July of 2026 and 3% in July of 2027. These same increases will also be applied towards all the applicable hourly extra help classifications. As I mentioned earlier, the EMTs and the fuels crew are excluded. And the reason for that is that these are contract positions that are fully funded through Measure X. In the future, if changes are required to the hourly rates of these classifications, it will go through the normal process for any additions or changes to Measure X funding. Further, as outlined in the staff report, the plan will provide for prescribed increases towards health insurance premiums both in 2026 and then again in January of 2028. There is a special salary adjustment that is factored into the overall cost. It was budgeted for under the adopted budget, and that's a 3.7% special salary adjustment for the chief of police. This will bring the chief's base salary back above median and within the top 4 of the comparable agencies in our county. As mentioned, wasn't mentioned, but there was a late distribution change that was made earlier today, and I want to explain what that captured. So as mentioned earlier today, we do have a new fire chief, and because of the timing, we had to make an adjustment to the new comp plan to reflect changes to the allocation that goes towards the retiree medical trust fund. So there's an allocation that the chief pays, which is $300, and then there's a city contribution of $100, and that's bi-weekly. So that is now included in this current version of the comp plan that's before you. In addition to that, there is a change that provides for an additional 8 hours of executive leave anytime the chief has to work during a holiday. There's a maximum of 24 hours that the chief could receive in the event that they works the equivalent number of hours in a holiday. And I do want to note that this is a provision that was provided already to the police chief, so it's just making that comparable for both chiefs. Lastly, I just want to state that the additional changes to the plan simply reflect updates and clarification to language that do not have a monetary impact. So overall, over the course of 2 fiscal years, the total net new costs for the changes is $2.3 million. And finally, staff is recommending that the council adopt the proposed changes to the compensation plan with an effective date of July 1st, 2026. And that is all, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Do we have any requests to speak from the public?
We do not have any registered speakers on this item.
Move approval.
Councilmember Weiss, is that what you said? Oh, where was that? Oh, okay. I was like, who was that? Councilmember Weiss.
I'll second that, but I do have a question for staff. So the adjustments that you're recommending, were they projected in the city's 5-year forecast? And are they consistent with that forecast?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll second the Deputy Mayor's motion.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Now we're on to public communications on off-agenda items. Item number 34. We have 2 requests, advanced written requests to reserve time to speak. First, we have Steve Florin from the California Surf Museum. Still on crutches. I'm trying to remember if that was a good story or not such a good story.
Yeah, it's not such a good story, but thank you, Mayor and council members. I know you guys have had a long night. I'll make this super quick. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the California Surf Museum and what we're doing to stay relevant and represent the city and the surf culture and history of surf culture we have here in the city. This is our 40th year that we've been around, and we're trying to develop some new programs. Just had, Mayor Sanchez, you were there, we just had our 4th annual A.R. Gurry photo contest, which is a contest that middle school and high school students can submit photos for. It costs nothing for them, and they have the ability to win prizes. We did have over 260 or over 250 submissions, and we had 11 students win. High school students win, yeah, and 11 high schools were involved as well. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry.
And you headed that program.
Yes, I did. Thank you. You're keeping me on track here. But anyways, it was a very great program. The kids got a lot of enjoyment out of it. The families were there. We had over 120 people in attendance, and we were just ecstatic that it turned out so well. So the photos are at the museum. We would welcome you all to stop by and see them, and we appreciate you letting us speak, and thank you very much.
Pretty impressive. And what are you doing in terms of the future of the Surf Museum? You're looking at potential changes?
We are. We're always looking at changes and new programs that we can keep up with, and especially in the educational realm right now. So we're trying to stay very relevant and keep up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Did you want to make a statement, Deputy Mayor?
I was going to say thank you for everything that y'all do, and y'all have so many amazing events on Wednesday nights that we can never get to.
Can you change the day?
I know.
So
I know.
I'm putting a formal request to sometime have those events on Tuesday. That's true.
No, I really appreciated that event. I just want to say it was wonderful, and one of the prizes for those who won was a pro camera, right? Is that what it's called?
Correct, yes.
GoPro, that's it.
Yes.
So next year's is going to be really fascinating, the entries, because you're going to have a category of GoPro.
We're working on that, yes.
Submissions.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Florin.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Ken Layton on crucial issues.
Right. A few months ago, I brought up the idea that from what I've been told from the surf industry and construction industry, is that the wave park sort of isn't going anywhere. And at the time, I was hoping that somebody could tell us, what exactly is happening. I got an email from the previous development services director who said, well, we're sort of waiting to hear what they really want to do. And the current development services director emailed me about a month ago and said, well, when I asked him, is it true nothing's happening with this? And he said, well, we're trying to answer their questions about the financials on their hotel. How many years has it been since the Ocean Camp Wave Lagoon has been on the table? At least 3 years, and there's no plans, and they're now just getting around to talking about the feasibility of the hotel, and that's as far as it's gone. I really would ask in a nice way, is there anybody who can tell me what's going on with that? Because I'm pretty sure not too much is. But it's interesting that Monday night, by the way, you guys are fun, but Monday night, it was the HBAC meeting. That is the coolest meeting in the city by far. It's loads of fun, and but let me back up here. Growing up in Oceanside, I knew that Helgren's, the sports fishing, put Oceanside on the map for sports fishing, and then Dick Helgren died, and Helgren's, the business sort of went down, and 10 years ago, the city gave the A-frame that Dick built at the harbor to the Sea Center, and all that's fine. Except, and then earlier this year, Helgren's went away completely, leaving the sort of a monopoly to the major sports fishing enterprise, to the Sea Center. Okay, that's all well and good. The only problem is that I'm told by people who are hardcore sports fisher enthusiasts that the real sports fishers go down to San Diego, because Helgren's pretty much just pitters around not very far off the coast, and they seem to be preoccupied with spreading funeral ashes more than the sports than they might if they were an active, aggressive sports fishing leader in the industry, which is the way it is, and that's fine. Except in February at the Beaches, Harbor and Beaches Commission, the harbor manager brought up the fact that we are asking you on the commission, should we charge an extra $1 million for insurance for the six-pack operators who operate their own small sports fishing group where they can take no more than 6 people out at a time. And Joe Cacciola, who's one of the 2 proprietors of the Sea Center, got up and said, oh, yes, you need to do it. You need to charge these six-pack operators more insurance. And I've been told that part of this increase in the insurance has to do with brick and mortar. These six-pack operators have no brick and mortar. And I have no clue why the city, and I guess through the harbor manager, seems to be propping up the wish of the Sea Center to get these independent operators, as they're struggling with they're small businessmen struggling with huge increases in fuel prices. Why does the city seem to be pandering to the wishes of the monopoly when it seems like these struggling independent operators could use a help, or at least not be kicked in the teeth? And but I really urge everyone to come check out an HVAC meeting, because it's a lot of fun. And I just wanted to share that thought with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Borrego, as to the wave project. Do you have anything that you can share with us?
Yeah, I do. And I know Mr. Layton has come to the meetings and has spoken on a few occasions regarding the status of the wave park. And just to clarify a few things, so the wave park has actually been actively working on plans for what's called the core infrastructure of the project, which are, the core utilities for the project. It's a very complicated site to develop. We've been going back and forth with them for several months on their infrastructure plan. So there's actually been quite a bit of activity on the core infrastructure planning component of the project. And those submittals have been going back and forth for several months now. So there actually has been quite a bit of meetings and quite a bit of activity with the developer of that site. With respect to the hotel site in particular, I will say, and it's no secret, it's very challenging to finance a hotel in this current market, and we're not unique. Hotel financing is really struggling. We actually do have a meeting with the wave pool developer scheduled next week to get an update on their hotel plans and to review their latest plans. So, I would say standing here that the project is moving forward. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sitting down with us to review their latest plan iterations. And, we hope to get the project moving forward as well. It's a very challenging financial market right now for these types of projects, and it is a unique project, which only makes it much more difficult to finance from that perspective. But we are in active conversations and expect things are going to be moving forward soon, especially following this upcoming meeting here.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 35, communications from the public regarding items not on this agenda. Do we have any requests to speak from the public?
We have 10 registered
10.
speakers.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay. Our first speaker is Jane Marshall, to be followed by Althea Green.
Evening, Council. Evening, everyone. I recently attended a meeting on June 8th at the Junior Rec Center with Manny Gonzalez, and telling us that they need to significantly reduce the operating hours at the rec center, both Junior Seau and also Melba Bishop. So while I and the 20-some others attended, we really appreciate them reaching out to try to let us know what's going on. At the same time, it was just like so fast. The end of the typical open hours for regular use is at the end of last week. Now it's student or youth camps, which lasts until like mid-August. But it would have been great to be aware, like have somebody maybe meet with us earlier this year to say, hey, we're going to run out of this ARPA money or whatever grant that they had, and let's together think about it, which is what they tried to do last week. Secondly, if, this is a really important resource, not only for the local youth that play basketball and volleyball, but for the many, many seniors that play indoor pickleball, because there's many of us that can't do the sun, continually like some people can. We're all in that like trying to avoid cancer stuff. And then third, there's a lot of city staff and visitors that use these facilities regularly, whether it's pickleball or I see all the fire department come down and play basketball. It's a really good, productive resource for the entire community. It really affects everyone, including visitors. So I guess for me, it would be really great if we could have a little time to change this course of action. I mean, we desperately need your help. Not necessarily, I know it all is money and everybody's asking for money, but instead of just running out of gas, that we meet creatively so that, and discuss creative options so that by the end of August, we can get back into the swing of things. It's for the health and safety of the citizens that support the council. So I'd be happy to meet. There's a group of us that would be happy to meet with and come up with grants or membership fees or whatever, but not let the conversation die, and let's work together to make a positive change. So I ask your help in affecting that.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Gonzalez, could you speak to Ms. Marshall about that? Thank you. Next is Althea Green, followed by Nigel Wolf. Is Althea Green still here? No? All right, how about Nigel Wolf?
I'm Nigel Wolf. I'm here tonight to address the issue of recent drowning incidents. What's the value of a human life? In the philosophical sense, a human life is generally accepted as priceless. But in the legal sense, the monetary value is often assigned to a lost life. For example, San Diego was recently sued for $11 million in a wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of a young swimmer who drowned at Mission Beach in 2022. The medical definition of a drowning is the process experience respiratory impairment due to being submerged or immersed in a liquid. Therefore, since drowning is a process rather than a guaranteed cause of death, medically no distinction is drawn between drownings that are fatal, non-fatal with injury, or non-fatal without injury. And notably, extenuating circumstances such as negligence are also relevant when you evaluate the cause of a drowning. On March 21st, a father and daughter almost died by drowning when they were caught in a rip current off the Oceanside South Jetty. This incident inspired me to formulate the Peer Project Initiative, which is a plan to deploy rescue life ring stations at hazardous high-risk drowning locations in Oceanside Harbor and beaches. Beginning March 25th, I formally submitted my Peer Project plan to Oceanside officials by letter and subsequently by presentation in 2 publicly scheduled meetings. However, discussion of my proposal was not allowed at the 2 meetings, and to date I've not received any formal response to either my rescue life ring station installation proposal or my offer to jumpstart the project with a pledge to personally fund the installation of the first rescue life ring station on Oceanside Pier, North and South Jetty. Unfortunately, since March 25th, Oceanside has experienced 6 additional new drownings, 1 fatal. Consequently, the city can't claim ignorance about the existing danger for drowning at Oceanside's confirmed hazardous water sites. My proposed Peer Project program for installing rescue life ring stations at locations with established high risk of drowning is universally accepted as best practice for preventing and avoiding drownings when lifeguards are not present. Supporters have suggested that the failure to promptly adopt and initiate the program is irresponsible at least, and at worst, possibly negligent. Let me be clear, our lifeguards do an excellent job, but they can't be everywhere all the time. On behalf of Oceanside residents and visitors, I ask Oceanside officials tonight the reason for the 2.5-month delay in responding to my Peer Project proposal. The public has a right to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You can sit.
No question.
Yes, you can sit. Thank you. Mr. Borrego, I know I've had a chance to talk with the fire chief about this, who's has some concerns about this program, but is being reviewed. Is that correct?
Yeah, just if I can give Mr. Wolf an update. So yes, we have, following his submission of his proposal, our fire chief, city engineer, and lifeguard captain actually did review the proposal and have looked at various options and different potential ways that we might be able to implement such a program. They actually have provided me with the memo, which is sitting on my desk for me to review with some recommendations. So I would expect within the next week we will be able to share those recommendations with the City Council.
Thank you very much. Leo Chapinski, followed by Jimmy Knott.
Honorable Mayor, most compassionate and intelligent Deputy Mayor Joyce, and the rest of y'all. You know, I came here to talk about safe parking because that wedding I'm supposed to go to back in Indiana is coming up in August, and we still got no safe parking in this city. But something was brought up about children, and I had worked 10 years at a high school as a campus supervisor. I also attend 8 different churches during the week. On Wednesdays, I usually go to Knights of Columbus or American Legion or Shiloh Church and various places. But being here to speak on behalf of our homeless, particularly and especially our homeless veterans, 70 years of age and older, who are living on a fixed income, you know, the deputy mayor was right. This ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Take care of it now. Don't wait for it later on when they get older. I used to work for New Haven homes. I work with severe emotionally disturbed boys. I was getting a whopping $7 an hour. Now, I had a degree in criminal justice. I could have worked anywhere else for a lot more money, and once New Haven Homes cut their homes in half to where there was only 6, myself and a few of my friends, we ended up working as security guards, security officers at the nuclear power plant, making 3 times as much money. But it wasn't as rewarding. Now, we talk about needing help for children. Of the 8 churches I attend to, this year, every church has talked about the Good Samaritan, about how we need to step forward. And it reminds me of John Fitzgerald Kennedy when he asked you not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country and what we can do for our children. There are a lot of volunteers, older people with a lot of experience who are willing to volunteer their time and their knowledge. So if we can't get it done with money, someone needs to step up to the plate and just ask. That's what it says in the Bible. Just knock on it and ask. The worst they can say is no. Now, we've lost a few more homeless people because they have nowhere to go. A few more cars have been taken, so now more homeless people. But I pray that one day soon we will come up with an acre of land somewhere for the people who live in their vehicles. Thank goodness it's the summertime. I'm a little out of it. I just have 2 holes in my back from cancer biopsy, and they take part of my year off. So forgive me for this.
Thank you. Thank you. And Councilmember Robinson, did you want to speak?
Yeah, thank you. Just back on Jay Marshall's comment, I just wanted we did remind council that on June 11th, we received a email from the deputy mayor on that topic, and I would just, with concurrence, ask that staff maybe in August could come back with a report on wherever we are so we can have a discussion about it.
Yes, we would be happy to do that.
Great, thank you. Mr. Knott, followed by Shelley Parker.
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Cherry Lane. I'm talking now as my appointment as senior rep and bring to your attention that the senior lunch program over at the senior center and country club, what's happened is, as you can read here, is that beginning on June 15th, this last Monday, going through June 30th, the meal program that has been providing breakfast and weekend meals, they'll just provide the lunches. There will be no longer breakfast or weekend meals for this period of time. I asked the reason why, and it's at the end of their year-end budget, and they're reassessing things. And they may be reassessing things for the future as well. But I also was asked by a number of people there, is there anything that you can do? Is there anything that our city council can do? And I know that you have a lot of contacts. So what I am asking on behalf of those seniors is if you can take and make sure that there are breakfasts available for our seniors at the senior lunch program and also weekend meals so that they can take home. This would be very appreciated by those who take advantage of our senior lunch program at the Country Club Senior Center. I'll take and pass this along to their city clerk. Thank you.
Thank you, and Mr. Gonzalez, if you could look into that, that would be great. I know that they do have some, have been doing that program for a bit. It's in like a 2-week time period, right? June 15th to the 30th, something like that. Shelley Parker, followed by Sandy Beal.
Good evening again, Mayor, City Council, Shelley Parker, and I'm speaking now as the state treasurer for GSMOL, Golden State Manufactured Homeowners League. I wanted to note that as an organization, we are a C4, so that means we work at the state level, passing law and advocacy for protection for mobile home owners. We were able successfully to stop the forward progress by HCD who was trying to raise fees that are passed through annually to mobile home park residents. And in fact, the fees that they wanted to increase were going to have an escalation clause as well as a roll-up clause. So they would escalate every year, and if they were, say, $12.50, they would automatically roll up to $13. And our mobile home residents, a great deal of the population are seniors, veterans, disabled, that live on a fixed income. And so HCD was proposing to take away money every year in increasing amounts. And I just wanted to recognize GSMOL's progress or success at the state level stopping this. And it was done with a letter writing campaign, telephone campaigns to all of our representatives, testimony at the legislative level, and through the work of this 60-year-old grassroots organization, we were able to defeat this proposal that was going to severely impact this class of people. So I just wanted to make that note. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Sandy Beal, followed by Michaela Ramirez, followed by Kelly Pennington.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. I'm Sandy Beal from Rancho San Luis Rey Mobile Home Park, where I'm the homeowners president and also the park designee. We know that affordable housing is essential in Oceanside, and I'm afraid it's at risk. Rancho San Luis Rey is absolutely affordable, and that's being threatened. About 8 years ago, John Saunders, a millionaire, bought our beautiful park. Rancho San Luis Rey has 433 homes, and at that time, the park only owned 2, and that was for the manager and the maintenance person. Now, June 2026, they own 46 homes, and this means that those homes are no longer under rent control. These homes are rented for between $2,500 and $3,500 a month, compared to our rent, which is under $600 a month. All John Saunders wants is more money, and the way he's doing it is by buying homes. In a senior park, there are always several homes that are for sale because of illness, moving to care facilities, or death. John Saunders is taking advantage of the vulnerable families when a senior has to move. This situation is getting worse, and we really need solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Michaela Ramirez, followed by Kelly Pennington, followed by Sean Goit.
So I wanted to just do an invite for everyone that's here. As you know, I do a lot of advocacy work, especially for our para-athletes. And I know I've spoken to have a blue ribbon cutting at our new local business that actually in the shopping center we're at, we're gonna end up having 3 new local businesses opening up. So it's kind of nice that we haven't been able to do that yet, because now we can just kind of incorporate 2 additional local businesses that are opening up and kind of have a bigger celebration. But we are doing an event, and just so you know, the athletes came up with this theme themselves. So it's an event celebrating our para-athletes, and it's called Let's Celebrate Our Legs, supporting people who don't have any. And these are athletes that are going towards the towards the Paralympics of LA 28. They've been advocating for their space and just really trying to support them. A lot of them come from super low socioeconomic backgrounds, where it's really difficult for them to be able to attend places because sometimes they need to have a travel buddy with them, which increases their funding, their support by 2 times. And then we have Coco, which is help us support para-athletes see their way, because he is a blind skateboarder. He actually is the first blind skater to drop into vert. And if you know what vert skateboarding is, it's like a huge U-tube, like what Tony Hawk skates most of the time. And so we're going to be doing this at the local business, Bella Longevity Spa. And I just wanted to invite our community and Mayor Sanchez and Jonathan and Eric and Jimmy and Robertson, everyone here. So I know my time's up, but I just really wanted to take the time and just have the city support our athletes and what they do and the incredible things they're able to conquer. Thank you.
Did you have a date for your opening, or your celebration?
We are waiting for you guys to let us know when you're available. We're thinking August, when you're back in session after July, and then the fundraiser is actually next week, Friday, from 6 to 9.
All right, thank you. And Kelly Pennington, followed by Sean Goit. Kelly Pennington? No? How about Sean Goit?
Hi, good evening. I was talking on the Pier project also, so I had a little speech to say, but I wanted to skip it because we were kind of confused. We're confused on how do we get on the agenda. We thought we were on the agenda, but we would really like to discuss this. I hear you say that you guys are working on it. Do we need to get on the agenda? Yes, would be,
There is no way to get on the agenda. Council members can get items on the agenda, but I think you're already being evaluated. So that is the information that we have from our city manager.
Okay, so.
It's through our city manager's office, and you already contacted him.
Will somebody be contacting us shortly or at some time? I know you said you had something, you're working on it, but, we haven't heard anything, and it's been.
Do you have anything else to say? Because really, we like to comment after the comments from items not on the agenda.
All
See,
right.
it's called items not on the agenda because they're not on the agenda. The 5-minute presentation that was made, whatever it was, a few weeks ago, that wasn't on the agenda either.
Right.
Right? So it's not something that we can, being not on the agenda means it's not noticed, which means we can't discuss it or vote on it. So, but thank you very much for your comments, and Mr. Borrega will add on to it after you're done.
Okay.
Mr. Borrega?
Yes, I would just share with the last speaker there that as soon as I mentioned earlier, we do have a recommendation that we're working on right now, and when we share that recommendation with council, which we expect to do within the next week, we will share that with you at the same time.
Right, and I have some real concerns about it. If it's easily accessible, it's probably going to be, theft and things, but I can't, we can't discuss it. I just had the city attorney telling me to shut up, but so anyway, Deputy Mayor.
Just because I think some of the confusion might have come from the fact that I believe the harbor commission was actually going to have a item on their agenda to talk about it. But then in reaching back out to Mr. Wolf, it sounded like he wasn't going to come to the commission meeting. So I think that may have been the confusion. And so
Yeah, I read the same email.
let's reach back out. We can't do the
No.
back and forth, but
No,
we'll.
no conversations here. We cannot have conversations, sorry. Items not on the agenda. I don't want to get in trouble here. All right, so that was the last person to speak, so we're on to item number 36, which is my request to make appointments to or motions for removal from some or all of the city's advisory groups. I have a list. I'm going to go ahead and move approval. Is there a second?
We do have public on this item.
How many?
We have 2 registered speakers
All
on this
right.
item.
Let's go ahead. We do have a motion and a second, but we do have 2 speakers.
First speaker is Larry Warner, to be followed by Jimmy Knott.
Mr. Warner?
Good evening. I'm here to ask you to reconsider the proposed appointment of 2 former Oceanside police employees to serve once again on the Police and Fire Commission. This year provided an excellent opportunity to remedy the current lack of diversity as 6 commissioners' terms were coming to an end. In fact, 2 former Oceanside police employees' terms ended so that they could be rotated off as a natural course of events. We could move forward, we could move the Police and Fire Commission toward greater independence from the Oceanside Police Department. The long-desired diversity was finally possible, finally within our reach. To encourage the mayor toward this end, we circulated petitions, gathered signatures. We spoke at various meetings. We contacted various organizations throughout Oceanside, the NAACP, Sowing Seeds of Dignity, Oceanside Sanctuary, SDOP, and others. We also contacted individuals, encouraging them to contact the mayor and at times the city council, encouraging her to move toward diversity and away from having former Oceanside police employees serve on the PFC. Also, since the reason given in the past to justify the recycling of police and fire commissioners was a lack of applicants, we encouraged people to submit applications to serve on the PFC, which they did. So imagine the disappointment we felt when Mayor Sanchez asked 2 former police employees to serve on the PFC once again for another 3 years. And if that was not bad enough, if this goes forward as proposed, one of them will be the chair, and 2 of them will sit on the Standing Oversight Committee, which is responsible for overseeing investigations of the Oceanside Police Department with regards to citizen complaints. 50% of the SOC would be former Oceanside employees. This level of involvement by former Oceanside police employees does not pass the smell test and raises critical questions about personal bias, institutional bias, and conflicts of interest. Such appointments do not foster trust in the community, but breed distrust. I urge you, Mayor, to reconsider these appointments, and if she goes forward with this, then I urge the City Council to vote against putting these 2 former Oceanside police employees on the Police and Fire Commission for another 3 years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Knott?
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Sherry Lane. One thing I want to bring up again that the council has previously had questions about, and that is when the commission member's term has expired and the council itself has had problems with appointing someone that has been brought forth to that position or reappointing that person or one of the people to that position, that the mayor declines to take and bring forth anyone to replace that person. So that person continues on and on and on in that commission until such a time in the future that they have their position is brought forth again. I would like to have our city council consider that if there is an expiration date for, let's say, a commissioner, that it is a expiration date, that you actually consider it an expiration date. And that you either appoint a person or you have a temporary interim appointment if you have any confusion until a permanent appointment is made. That way, if there is any conflict of conscience or legal issues or whatever, that can be resolved because you would have made a temporary interim appointment. I would like for you to take and consider that in reviewing how appointments are made, and I think that would be a wise decision. Again, that's in your hands.
Thank you very much. There is a motion and a second. Deputy Mayor?
Could I request to divide the motion so the Police and Fire Commission appointments are separated from the rest?
Okay, I'll go ahead and just do that. So we'll have two votes. The balance first, and then secondly, we'll do the Police and Fire Commission. So first motion is for all but the Police and Fire Commission.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Now back to the motion, which was, that included Police and Fire. So there is a motion and a second for Police and Fire Commission. Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-1. Joyce, no.
Thank you. We have adoption of ordinances next, item number 37. There are three. Starting with item number 37, staff recommends City Council adopt an ordinance deferring implementation and exempting certain sites from the Abundant and Affordable Homes Near Transit Act, SB 79, which was introduced on June 3rd on a 4-0 vote.
And we do have public on this?
All right. So we do have speakers?
Yes, we have one speaker.
Okay.
Jamie Knott.
Mr. Knott?
Once again, I want to thank the council for considering this and for staff bringing this forward. I think that this is something to empower our community. And once again, thank you, and I hope it passes. And it tells the state, we are a city that has our own charter, and we deserve to make our own decisions for our own land. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and move adoption. Is there a second? Okay. Mr. Burke, City Attorney?
I was just going to...
Title it?
Certainly the title. I was just going to offer, there are 4 items. You can take up all of these items as a single vote if you were so inclined. I would just need to title all 4 of them prior to doing so. Or we can take them each separately as is customary.
Okay. Is there a request to basically bifurcate the question at all? I don't see that. Was there someone who wanted to speak on this? I don't see that either. So I have a motion. Is there a second? Oh, you did say second. My apologies. All right. Please title all 4.
Right. And is there any other public on any of these?
No other public on item number 37, but there is public on item 38 and 39.
So then it would be premature to vote collectively on those.
On the inclusionary, 38 is not inclusionary. Does that have to be with the SB 79?
we'll just
I
go-
thought that was a totally different.
I was
item.
trying to do something to expedite us. We have public on
Well,
each
like
of
a
these.
consent, like a consent item.
Correct. We'll
Right.
go ahead and do it normal.
Okay, let's just do this normally. So let's go ahead and vote, introduce the title, excuse me, title of the ordinance, which was introduced,
Thank you.
as to item number 37.
This is the second reading and adoption of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, deferring implementation and exempting certain sites from the Abundant and Affordable Homes Near Transit Act, SB 79.
Thank you, please vote.
Motion approved, 4-0. Councilmember Weiss abstaining.
Thank you. Item number 38, staff recommends City Council adopt an ordinance for amended text proposed by the California Coastal Commission to incorporate suggested modifications to the inclusionary housing ordinance, Chapter 14C of the Oceanside City Code, updating the definitions of various income categories, modifying the threshold for inclusionary housing requirements, removing restrictions on the utilization of accessory dwelling units for meeting inclusionary housing requirements, and correcting section numbering to incorporate suggested modifications. This was introduced on June 3rd, 2026 with a 5-0 vote. I'll go ahead and move adoption. Is there a second? Okay. Do we have any requests to speak on this?
We have two. We have Jimmy Knott and Kelly Pennington.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she's here or not.
Mayor?
Mr. Knott?
Council members, give me that 127 Cherry Lane. I was asked by a person who has been in our emergency housing consideration for a while to ask for you to really speed up whatever you can. She is going through surgery over at the facility, and she really needs some housing as soon as possible.
This
I
is
know
not-
exactly what you're saying, but the thing is I want to support this, and especially for the new category, the acutely low income. But I want to emphasize is that if we can somehow, in some way, speed up for those people who have medical conditions, housing in that area, it would be very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Pennington? I don't see Kelly Pennington, so we do have a motion and a second. Please title the ordinance.
Thank you. This is the second reading and adoption of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, amending Chapter 14C of the Oceanside City Code to establish revised inclusionary housing regulations with modifications suggested by the California Coastal Commission.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 39, staff recommends City Council adopt an ordinance amending Article 12, Section 1232 of the regulations for mixed-use developments with modifications suggested by the California Coastal Commission, introduced June 3rd, 2026 on a 5-0 vote. Okay, there's a motion and a second, and Ms. Pennington is not here, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so please title the ordinance.
This would be the second reading and adoption of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, amending Article 12 of the Oceanside zoning ordinance that addresses downtown density with California Coastal Commission suggested modifications and requesting certification as amended, LCPA 22-0002.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 40, staff recommends City Council adopt an ordinance establishing the prohibition of vehicles in excess of 7 tons per Type 3 truck, that's a truck with 3 axles, in excess of 7 tons per Type 3 S2 truck and semi-trailer with 5 axles, and in excess of 8 tons per Type 3-3, truck and fuller trailer with 6 axles, from using North Coast Highway Bridge over San Luis Rey River Bridge north of State Route 76. This was introduced on June 3rd, 2026 on a 5-0 vote. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Okay. Do we have any requests to speak?
No.
All right. Let's vote. Oh, title of the ordinance.
This would be the second reading and adoption of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Oceanside establishing the prohibition of trucks in excess of 7 tons and 8 tons from driving on the San Luis Rey River Bridge, North Coast Highway.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. We are on general council member comments. Councilmember Figueroa.
Yeah, I just want to share, I had the opportunity to participate with a really great conference that Vista Community Clinic Project Reach put together at John Landis this past weekend with the students from Project Reach, John Landis, and the students from Project Reach, Libby Lake. They held a boys conference at John Landis Community Center, and I had the opportunity to be one of the facilitators of that program. So just really proud of the work that they're doing entering the summer, because this was already entering the summer of both programs, and they're keeping the youth engaged, and just really happy and proud of all the work that they're doing.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly, because I know we've already talked about the harbor a bunch of times tonight, but they asked very specifically that we make sure we carry some of their concerns to council. The lot 12, which is the very end lot at the harbor on the, when you first go into the left, there's some proposed changes that are being kicked around, and they're not coming to us. They're staying at staff level, but they wanted to make sure that we are aware of what's being proposed. So there is a changing of the hours. Instead of, they want to close the lot starting at 11 p.m. instead of 2 a.m. There is a proposed installation of a gate, and this was talked at length at the meeting. And the gate that is currently being proposed is that blocking the in road to that harbor lot. And I bring this up because it's a very publicly used lot by our locals and by people from out of town. But I've been approached several times about the use of this lot because it is somewhere folks that live here can use, especially in the off summer hours. And then there was a broad amount of feedback. But really they want to know, like, is this solving the problem? And to make sure that if it is, because it's a lot of money to spend on this and the lighting, to really be clear about that we're solving a problem. What we heard referenced in the meeting was incidents that happened a few years back that were very violent. But I guess since some of the changes we've made, we've seen a lot less of it. That the other issues have been different. So anyway, just wanted to make sure you were aware of it in case you hear from folks across the community about the changes, or if you want to weigh in. And also there was concerns about the changes to charter insurance for six-packs. And I know that's already using a lot of language I think you're probably familiar with. But they voted unanimously to ask for us to postpone those changes until Jan 1 of 2027. I don't know if city manager wants to speak to that at all, but that was the unanimous vote from the Harbor Committee. And I think beyond that, there are definitely concerns that raise around the whole chartering infrastructure of how we do the chartering boats right now, and especially the small operators that do six-packs, because some of them are running as like businesses all the time, and some of them are doing it once a week. And so there's just a broad range of what's happening down there. And there are also a lot of undocumented charters, unreported undocumented charters. So I think there's just a lot of concerns bubbling. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of this happening.
Right. I think we were all aware of the activities, criminal activities that were happening down there. And there has been a very broad conversations and recommendations about installing, which I guess we used to have, the gate. and the timing and all that. And I think that, I don't know if you're prepared to respond to some of this stuff, but these were actually requests from the community. So I don't know, I believe they were actually included in the conversations. Mr. Borrego?
Yeah, I won't get into all the details. I think it's probably best if we just prepare a memo for council information. But yeah, staff is actually has been talking about these items for several months now. Some of the information has been shared publicly, some not, as we've been working this through, but certainly we'll share where we're at with the city council. I know we've had some briefings, as an example, on the six-pack charter thing. I think we've talked to you guys about that in the past.
Right.
But certainly we'll provide council with the memo in terms of where we're at and what we expect to see next steps to be, and if council wants to bring this forward as a formal item, once we present you with that memo, we'd be happy to do so.
Yeah, boat owners were really asking for help to be safe. And so, anyway.
Almost done.
Yeah.
So just because I also receive public input from folks who are users that are not boat users, there's always like community on both sides of that speaking to how far we go to prevent crime versus how we're like imposing on people's use. The last thing I want to bring up is this Saturday is the Juneteenth celebration by the North San Diego County NAACP here down in the Civic Center. It starts at 10 a.m. It's a full fun day. There's live action going on the whole day long. Come down and join our community in celebrating the day that everyone achieved freedom after the Civil War. And it was not the Emancipation Proclamation nor the end of the Civil War, but it was months after that that Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and finally freed the last of the folks who were living in our United States without being free.
Councilmember Robinson.
It's amazing. I get the applause every time just before I speak.
Williams.
Real quick, just did attend a Cal Cities meeting. It was a virtual meeting, our Economic Development Commission, our Tourism Summit, which was very good over here at the Star Theater, and on Saturday, the Vance Car Show, which everybody should go to. But what I really want to talk about, and we did recognize our fire chief's retirement, and that's very appropriate, but there's another individual in the fire department that's retiring, and that's Division Chief Lucifer Keener, and he's not going to be here to talk about it or get any certificates or anything, and he's a pretty humble guy. But in my over 40-year career in the fire service, I've worked with literally hundreds of firefighters, and I will tell you that Keener will be one of the most memorable firefighters and chief officers that I've ever had the pleasure and honor to work with and alongside, and I just really thank him and his wife, for Rachel, for their service to the city. And I know when they retire, they're going off to Florida, I think, pretty soon, but they'll be back and forth, so we'll get to see him once in a while. But I didn't want him to get out of here without some honorable mention, so Chief, let him know I did that, would you?
Thank you. And briefly, I am on the Sandag Transportation Committee, actually through being appointed to the Airport Authority. So I've been really grateful to be able to be on the Transportation Committee. We did have a hearing, and it was noted in the paper about maybe some confusion. It had to do with NCTD and MTS requests to raise the fees for the fares. This is not done in a vacuum. This is actually done via requests from NCTD and also MTS, which tend to work together, and especially if you want to travel from one end of the county to another, it's highly critical that whatever they ask for, do it together. That does not mean that when they request that the rates be raised, and I found this out during the meeting, that it doesn't mean that they can't offer some kind of a freeze for some purpose, and that's not through Sandag. That would be within each of the organizations. So it was supposed to be an introduction of basically like an ordinance, and then a second reading would have been, is actually scheduled for next month. Unfortunately, there was some discussion that occurred at MTS that there was no vote based as a result, and the attorney for Sandag indicated that it did not have to be voted on, the introduction, which is really not the way we run it at city council level. But it was really clear to me that NCTD board had voted unanimously to increase the rates. And of course, whatever the requests are, and that was unanimously. So I guess that included our representative on CTD. And it was either raise the rates or cut down on services. And there were, I guess, a series of surveys that were done for, I want to say, several months before to see what the public wanted to do. The rates had not been increased for a while. So that is going to be continued, that the Youth Opportunity Program continues. So these are through age 18. You can still get the Youth Opportunity passes that are very low and affordable, so that for those, for that demographic, that's covered. It's not just covered for this year, but it does sound like Sandag is committed to continuing that program for several years. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that the paper read as if there was confusion. There was confusion on my part because I thought, and the staff report actually said they wanted a vote, and then the chair indicated that, well, no, there's been a change, and that was orally done. So I did not hear him say that. His voice kind of is low. All right. This past Saturday was the FACO, the Phil-Am Cultural Organization's annual festival. It was wonderful. There was also the powwow. The Santa Maria Band of Mission Indians sponsored the annual powwow, and that was really wonderful too. I had the opportunity to speak at both events, and we had several tribes participate in the powwow. There will be another festival sponsored by the Phil-Am Cultural Organization in, I believe it's the fall. I'm trying to remember the month, but it is going to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the independence of the Philippines. So this is this year. Yeah, 100 years of independence. So, and that's it. So I did want to get a clarification for the next meeting. The city staff and the city council are looking to have a special meeting called for next Wednesday. Is that correct, Mr. Borrego? Because I understand the notice will be going out on Friday, possibly?
I would defer to the city attorney on that one, on the noticing component. Sorry, it's...
Because I have to state when we are adjourning to.
That's correct. The staff intends to work with the city manager's office and the mayor to bring forward a special meeting on June 24th, the particulars of which, the notice for which will go out before the end of the week.
Okay, so please be aware that there is a special meeting that we will be having on the 24th, and I believe the start time is 5 p.m. It's 5 p.m. So please look for that. Once it hits on Friday, certainly I hope that we will get the word out in every way that we can, because we do want you to come to this meeting. And then the next regularly scheduled meeting after that is in August. Okay, so council will be dark for the month of July. The next meeting after the special meeting is August 5th at 3:30 p.m. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.